First Church has a strong legacy of leadership, both pastoral and lay, who have helped set our course, moved us forward, and led us into the future over the past 106 years. I was baptized here. I raised my 2 kids here. They are the 4th generation of my family's membership at First Church. Now, I've been asked once or twice in the past, Barbie, tell us what it was like when First Church opened its doors in 1917. Ha ha. My history here doesn't go back quite that far, but I've seen growth and decline, change and struggle, loss of beloved parents, grandparents, pastors, church leaders, teachers, and mentors to me. I've also seen great hope and rebirth, including a baby boom here last year, and new families with children who have already become treasures in our community. We've heard in the past 2 weeks from Gordon, Brendan, and Shirley about the early days of our church, its formation, its buildings, and its role in the UCC denomination's story. It is my privilege this morning to highlight some of our former pastors and leaders that have kept our church vital and relevant. I'll start in 1946, almost 30 years into our history. And let me add that our history team, and in particular Larry, has dusted off and arranged portraits of most of the former pastors that I'm going to reference today. Thank you, Larry. With Dr. Fred Barnhill, a World War II chaplain and U.S. Army captain, arriving in 1946, our membership was about 300. His enthusiasm and citywide popularity led to rapid growth of the church, matching the tremendous post-World War II growth of Phoenix, and in 5 years, membership was 1,100. He started a weekly newsletter for business leaders in Phoenix. As young families moved into new homes not far from the church, he offered spiritual growth, cultural, and educational activities for all ages, not available elsewhere in the city at the time. He made himself visible and active in the community. Dr. Barnhill, on the far left, baptized me in 1954. I'll do the math for us. I'll be 70 next year. Dr. Ford Forsyth took over in 1956. He stressed ecumenical involvement in educational opportunities with weekly Bible study and spring and fall seminars open for citywide participation. He attracted members through his participation in civic activities. His 5-year pastorate included some of the major construction work here. Dr. Shelby Lee came in 1961 and was known for his dynamic preaching, a radio ministry, and an annual brotherhood event with our Jewish neighbors at Temple Beth Israel. Winter visitors, becoming a common thing, created a seasonal blip in membership and worship attendance. Fellowship meals and many new fellowship groups were created. Worship was enriched with sacred dance and handbell choirs. In 1982, Reverend Leroy Calbaum was called during a time of diminishing size of the church due to an aging membership combined with families moving to the ever-spreading suburban areas of the valley. Reverend Calbaum encouraged the congregation to consider the question, should First Church continue in this location? The congregation made an enthusiastic commitment to remain downtown. We felt called to stay here and to serve here. The Phoenix downtown area was deteriorating at the time, and the church, already known for its outreach, found itself flooded with transients and unsheltered. Food and counseling for those seeking help led to widening our church's ecumenical outreach, and we, along with 45 other churches across many denominations, helped launch Interfaith Cooperative Ministries, now known as Nourish Phoenix. Reverend Calbaum served as president of its board of directors. Dr. Stephen Wales came to us in 1992. His preaching and Bible studies were highly regarded. We helped nest the Arizona School for the Arts in 1995, its opening year as a performing arts charter school. Pastor Wales said, "We prayed for children. We opened our doors to 150. A growth and good news team created New Directions, a framework with action-oriented statements to help guide our future in our worship, mission, vision, and resource management. Pastor Wales is known to say that the church saved his life. As we supported him and loved him through his recovery in 1997, we welcomed others on that journey, and the recovery community remains an important presence here. Pastor Wales helped us understand that our already extravagant welcome to all visitors and neighbors wasn't enough for the LGBTQ+ community to feel included and loved unconditionally. After a year-long study, we adopted our open and affirming statement in 2003. Pastor Wales was already performing Holy Union ceremonies in the church on a regular basis. Reverend James Pennington was called in 2014. His picture is missing. Picture him in the courtyard with Jackson at his side, outdoors. One of his first priorities was leading us to create mission and vision statements. From there, we restructured our leadership model to take the burden off a single moderator and to work more collaboratively. Marriage equality was celebrated in 2015. In 2016, when multi-unit housing construction exploded through downtown and the church's neighborhood, we voted to grant funds from our investments to hire an outreach and development officer and to call an associate pastor, a risk we believed was necessary to staff for growth. That grant brought us Pastor Susan in 2018. Working side by side with Pastor James, the immigrant crisis in 2018 brought ICE-released detainees to the doors of immigrant-welcoming churches throughout Phoenix. Our pastors and the Immigration Task Force worked with the nonprofit and faith-based communities to streamline services for asylum seekers with the opening of the Welcome Center. COVID-19 and the pandemic shutdown in 2020 brought a halt to nearly all face-to-face activities at the church. Pastor James kept us connected through mostly daily email messages with articles, videos, and interviews. With volunteer help and technology, we managed to offer pre-recorded, then eventually live stream worship. Reverend Susan Valaket was called as our settled pastor in early 2021, our first woman pastor. She has led us through a safe reopening process with hybrid worship. She engaged our conference minister in 2021 to conduct SOAR training for leadership and interested members, and several ad hoc teams have been working over a year now on initiatives to guide and shape our future. For me, one of the most meaningful pieces of recent UCC history are the phrases, "God is still speaking," and "never place a period where God has placed a comma." These phrases are about forward thinking, staying relevant in changing times, finding God in the world today, in people today, and caring for the earth we call home. I'm so grateful for Brendan Mahoney and his vision. He asks us to think about the people in our church 50 years from now. What will they say about us? How will they view our actions? How will our decisions now and next year and the year after that set the course and move us forward into those people's hands in 2073 and after? God is still speaking, and amen to that.